Hey fellas, Mike and Buck, Mrodair, back again. We want to go over a little bit more details of the compressor install with the upgrade kit. We've got ours here that we use at the shop. Mike's got it laid out real nice and neat, how to do a real nice clean install on the compressor. As of last Friday, all of our shipments at the shop are up to date. Varmints, Plinksters, Precisions, compressors, you name it, it's out. Now we got a little time, we can finally catch up to y'all, do some of this, show you how to do a nice real clean install on your compressor. Do a little troubleshooting, things of that nature. Like I said, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, let him handle it. I'm going to get behind the camera, zoom in a little bit, maybe it'll help see things a little better, we'll find out.
Thanks, Buck. Guys, when you get your compressor, it's going to come in two boxes. One box has the compressor itself, the other has the coolant setup. I'm going to go over with you how to install this, make it a real clean install like this, and we're going to start with the radiator. All right? Actually, we're going to start with the oil system. When you get your compressor, it's got a little paper tag here and a bolt installed in here for transit. You're going to remove that bolt, fill up the crankcase with the oil supplied in the kit, and replace the bolt with this crankcase filter. Now, your oil level is checked right here by the sight glass. It should come right to the bottom of this little red indicator here. All right? It's a splash oil system, doesn't need to be completely full of oil. You can see it in the sight glass. All right, when you get that, you want to take a little visual inspection of your compressor. Make sure you don't have any shipping damage, anything like that. We're going to get into mounting your radiator. I'm going to show you a close-up of this radiator and how we start to install this radiator, guys. Here's your radiator, and we've included 4 of these little rubber-coated straps here for installing it. There's some little socket head cap screws, washers, and some fittings. So in this orientation right here, we're going to lay it down with the bungs where your fittings go on the left-hand side, and we're going to call this the top. You install 2 of these straps in the top in the threaded holes in the frame of your radiator. Along with 2 of your fans. You take your fan here, put it up next to the fittings, your second fan in the center, and once again that's with these socket head cap screws that are supplied with your kit. All right, to wire your fans is very simple. It comes with 2 cords, and these cords plug into the little terminals on the bottom of your fan right here. You plug those in, and if you orient the cord on the bottom like this, you come out with a real nice clean install. Right here on the bottom you can't see the wires at all. There are a couple of ways to hook up your wiring on your fans and your water pump. We've included in the kit a couple of piggyback spade terminals, 2 of which are already installed on the input side of your switch. If you'd like to hardwire it into your compressor, this is the way to go. You can run both the fans and the water pump with the spades provided. Another way that's quicker and simpler is to run it independently with a power strip such as this with a little on-off switch. The benefits of this setup, it's very simple. You simply plug in the 2 fans and the water pump. When you get done using your compressor, you can remain on with your cooling system and cool it down in between fills really quickly. Okay, so that's just a couple of ways you can do it. Either way, it comes out pretty clean. Let's get into mounting this, actually mounting this radiator and running your coolant lines. To do that, after you've installed your 2 straps right here on the top and your 2 fans, got your wiring ready to go, decided how you're going to do that, we're going to mount this radiator just like this, and you're going to put these straps right underneath these 10mm bolt heads in between the sheet metal and the frame. All right, then it comes out with an install just like this. You want to leave them a little bit loose so you can center it up the way you want it. All right, when you get that done, actually before you get that done, you're going to want to put in your 2 NPT fittings. One of them is a 90-degree fitting, one of them is a straight fitting. With the same orientation, you want to install the smaller 90-degree fitting in the top bung right here on the radiator, and a good snug hand tight fit works really well. You get a little wrench, they've got a hex on them. And your lower one is the straight fitting. All right, now we can go on to mounting it. Like I said, underneath the 10mm bolt and the sheet metal comes with that install right there. You can set that aside. And there are two straps also for the bottom. We're going to show you how those go. They're also bent in that shape right there. Put a washer. And those are 3mm metric socket head cap screws for you guys that are interested in what exact size they are, and they screw right into the frame of your radiator here. Now, you get those screwed in and you're good to go with the mounting of your radiator. We're going to work our way around this side of the compressor. I'm going to move it around a little bit and show you a little bit more about how the hoses hook up, what size hoses, and where they go. On this side of the compressor, this is the low side of the compressor, you're going to run one hose from here, and on our setup, you remember we have a 90-degree fitting. It keeps you from having this drastic bend right here. It comes straight up, and you can cut these lines you have. This is the smallest line of all of them. Comes in your kit, and it's a pretty good sized piece of line, so you can cut it the way you like. Also, the fittings on the other end of those are a simple push to connect. Okay, you just push it in there like that. It's got an O-ring seal, and you're good to go. You can press that collar and release it if you want to ever take it out and move it, whatever, in the future. But it's a real simple setup. You run this line here, and you're going to run one of your larger diameter lines. There's two of them in your kit. The longer one is going to go on the bottom of your radiator right here. For right now, you can just put it on your little barb here and leave it hanging to the side. All right. The next thing you're going to want to do is get your water pump. This is the water pump we supplied with our air compressors, and it's a pretty simple hookup. They have a large fitting for the intake and a smaller fitting for the output of them. The intake is a barb fitting, and it's threaded with an O-ring underneath, so it's real good, doesn't leak, anything like that. The top fitting, however, is a tapered press-in fit, okay? It's a PVC housing, and it's tapered about like a regular PVC pipe fitting. So what we do is we take a little bit of PVC pipe glue, put around the outside of that. When you put it in there like that, you don't have any problems whatsoever. Some of these have been a little bit loose, so that takes care of that problem. When you get your water pump ready to go, you're going to take the medium-sized diameter piece of hose you have, and you're going to heat the end of it just slightly, and it'll press right on that barb fitting right there. And your short piece of the largest diameter is going to go on your bigger fitting right here. All right, when you get that installed, your water pump, let me turn this around some more. Your water pump can sit right here beside your separator here. And that's the configuration you want to go with. You have your line that you have in the top of the pump run up here into the quick connect fitting, the push to connect fitting on the tallest cylinder. This is your high pressure cylinder. Okay, this is where the water goes in first, goes through the system, comes out through the radiator, and is returned back into the tank. So, now that you have that set up and your lines are all configured the way we have them here, we're going to install the tank, and that's really all there is to it. This tank I have here is one of the smaller tanks for the basic unit. You guys with the upgrade kit have the 5-gallon tanks. They're roughly the same size as this unit, stick out about this far, and they'll go right here. What they do all have in common are the two holes in the tank. This is your return hose. This longer hose here from the bottom of the radiator, we put a little slant cut on there, makes them easier to fit in that hole. They are a tight fit. When you get them started, kind of pressure fit in there, get that started in there, and that's your return hose. Your hose that goes to your pump will go in the lower hole right here. There's no pressure on this system, so you don't have to worry about it blowing your hose out or anything. You get that set up, and your tank on your larger tank is going to sit right here beside your compressor. That pretty much covers the water cooling system on this unit. You want to turn your water pump on, watch for the water circulating, and you're ready to go. I wanted to go over this with you guys. We're going to do a little bit more of this video, show you some tips and tricks on how to use the compressor, some of the things you can watch for in service. Guys, a couple of things I wanted to go over with you in the little bit of a troubleshooting section we have here. Some of the guys on the forums have reported a few things that I wanted to go over and kind of explain how easy this thing is to service and what we can do to help you with that. Okay, some of the features of this unit, one of which I'm going to start with, is our moisture separator. This is actually our prototype unit. The unit that comes on your compressor is actually machined a little nicer, but the functionality is the same. This, of course, is where you drain your moisture out of the system, and it's also where you would bleed off your pressure when you go to unhook your air rifle or air tank or what have you. All right, during the operation of this, if you have an extended runtime while the pump's running, you're going to want to drain the moisture out of that every once in a while, depending on how humid it is where you live. Some of the guys are saying, man, I opened that thing up and there's just all kinds of water comes out of it. I'm like, yeah, that's its job, guys. This is where your moisture is going to come out. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit more about this thing, and in our other video, I took one of these apart and showed you the internal components of it. Some people are a fan of desiccant, some would rather have molecular sieve. They're a relatively similar type of material, and the way they're installed in this unit, there's a large hex on the top, and this one's already loose. It has an O-ring seal underneath it, and when you take it apart or take the top off, you don't actually have to take this off the unit to do that. There is a little cindered bronze trap here on the bottom, and it unscrews, and this is a separate little canister. It unscrews, and inside that is your desiccant. Now, this is replaceable. It's easily found many places for pennies. You can also order molecular sieve material off the internet in bulk or in small quantities, and it doesn't take very much to fill that thing up. It is very effective. Now, the way this thing works and the way this sits is sitting in the canister here. The air comes in through here, goes through the desiccant, comes out through here. This helps to form droplets, which of course gravity takes to the bottom. The air has to travel back up a very small area in between this surface and the threads here and out to your air gun. So it's fairly efficient for a basic separator unit. Also, to keep the desiccant from coming back into your system or coming into contact with any of the walls of the pressure vessel itself, inside, underneath this fitting, is a little one-way poppet valve. There's a spring, a little brass fitting, and an O-ring that is kind of an anti-reversal type valve. All right, so they've thought this thing out pretty well. Now, the only thing you have to watch for is the interval in which you drain this, and that's going to depend on the humidity where you live, guys. That's what our little add-on filter in your upgrade kit, that's where this comes in. There's a couple of places to put it, and a couple of guys have noted that the fittings on this, the threads are compatible with what we have here, but they were sent with some O-rings that in some cases don't seal quite well enough. What we have come up with and what we found is a number 6 machine washer or a number 2 metric washer. We use the nylon flat washers. They work real good as a flat seal underneath here. They go inside. You can use it right here on your block with either a flat seal or a dowty washer. You can also use it with the O-rings supplied on this end. Now, sometimes when you put it on this end, it's inconvenient up next to your air gun. So depending on what kind of air gun you have is where you'd want to put this. Inside this is a little telltale, what I call it. It will let you know if there's any moisture getting past there, if you need to drain your separator more often. There's some media inside here, and it comes with 2 or 3 spares, and you can pull that out. If there's any moisture in here at all, that's telling you you need to drain the thing a little bit more often. Now, when you get to the end of the service life of the ones that come with it, I've actually seen them paper towel wadded up and put in these things. This is really to help you know how your compressor's operating, where you live, and it's a peace of mind to know that this moisture is not going into your air gun, guys. Some other things that we've noted are when these things were shipped to us, some of these actually had oil still in them. Some people have reported that they had oil in their system, and when they got them, they checked their desiccant. There was a little bit of oil that had been through the system. That's from where we checked and tested these compressors, guys. You might want to test that, check that, or when you put your telltale on it, of course you'll see pretty much instantly. You can either remove the discing altogether or replace it. Like I said, if you need discing, anything like that, you don't have it available locally, give us a call, send us an email, we can get that for you. Any kind of replacement parts you need, from the electrical components, the contactors, they're commercial grade contactors. We have the contactors, we have the relay bases, we have the relays, all the wiring, the connectors down to the spade terminals, everything for this. We have all the gaskets. Of course, you get the high pressure rings. That's your wear item in this unit, and you get those already in your kit. But any of the other gaskets, some of these gaskets are a non-typical type gasket, and just wanted to let you guys know that we do keep these in stock direct from the manufacturer. So if you need any of this kind of stuff in the future, we're going to have it, guys. That pretty much covers all that kind of stuff. There is the question of electric service. These units start at about 16 amps of current draw, and they can develop up to 21 amps of current draw once the pressure gets up to a full 4,500. Now this is a momentary amp draw, and there's been some discrepancy on what size circuit to run. Some people run them on a 20 amp circuit and get by just fine. Please be sure that you have adequate service. Don't try to run this compressor on a skinny little Walmart extension cord. It's really not going to work. The way you're going to be able to tell are two ways. One, you turn the unit on and it clicks. It just clicks and it doesn't come on and all that kind of stuff. That's your contactor is not energizing properly. That's one way of knowing. Another way, if it's drawing too many amps, inside this unit, right on top of the electric motor on this plastic housing, there is an overload reset on there. If you draw over the amps that's required to run this compressor, it's going to pop that thing out. You don't have to worry about it. Turn the compressor off. You can reset it by simply pushing it, and you're good to go. That's telling you that you are pulling too many amps, whether it be from a light cord, from a light circuit. These compressors run about 3 to 5 horsepower. Standard shop compressor is about the same current that these things are going to run, guys. We opted for the 110 unit because in the United States, that's common pretty much everywhere. There are some guys that are rewiring some of their dryer outlets and things like that, 220 to 110. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's a very inexpensive way of dealing with this and having a really heavy circuit. If you'd like more information on that, give us a holler. I think that's really about it. We do, like Buck said, have about 20-25 of these remaining in stock and ready to ship. And I just want to let you know we're here for you, even if you need us. Thanks.